Pregame.com.
Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin, wrapping things up with a second of two college championship videos. Gave you out Arizona plus 14.5 in the Pac-12 matchup on Friday night from Levi Stadium. This game will be on Saturday. Florida State taking on Georgia Tech. This game will be in North Carolina, in Charlotte. And Dave Cokin, that Florida State team, somehow, some way, they keep on winning games.
They do keep on winning games, but you know, at some point, the luck bitch has to start frowning on Florida State. I mean, Jesus, sorry about the choice of words there, but I say that all the time.
Yeah,
I stopped using Lady Luck when I look. You know, you bet long enough, and you're gonna have bad beats. Lady Luck turns into luck bitch. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
This team's been phenomenally lucky, and you know, I'll give them credit because you got to find a way to win the games. But they're down 21-0 at Louisville, and they win the game. The Boston College game, that really was a coin flip. Could have gone either way. The Clemson game was a miracle that they got the win. And on and on and on. They've had two blowouts this year. One was against the Citadel, which basically doesn't count. Mm-hmm. And the other one was Wake Forest. They ended up winning by 40, and that game was tied 3-3, I think right at the end of the first half.
Yep.
And that's Wake Forest, which is, you know, they're not real good. And yet they find a way to win football games, and it continued last week against Florida, a game they should have lost, and managed to get the W. The problem now is they're facing a team that's legitimately hot. See, none of these other teams, it's not like Boston College was on a major roll. Florida's firing their coach. Louisville, nice team. Petrino's done a good job, but still, you know, they're not supposed to be at Florida State's level. Did I say Louisville right? It's really important to me. I don't want to.
Yeah, you better not screw that up.
No, I know. Yeah, because I don't want to say Louisville. What are you, stupid northerner?
You know, it is classic. When I went there, when I was calling games for UC Riverside in the championship, their Division II, we played Bruce Pearl in Southern Indiana, and was there in Louisville. And they actually have a shirt put out, and there's like 50 different pronunciations of Louisville. They spell it. And it's a collector's item. So
is that right?
Yes.
So Louisville.
There you go.
Is that right?
Nolans, Louisville.
And for you know who is watching right now. I hope it did that well. Okay. Anyway.
I don't think she's worried about that.
No. Here's the thing, and it does separate this game from the others, is that Georgia Tech is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They've got a winning streak coming in. If you watched that game against Georgia last week, it's an overtime. If you just saw the box score, it's like, wow, that was an exciting game, close. It wasn't close. Georgia Tech was much the better team against Georgia last week. I mean, they dominated that football game. You had I thought it was a ridiculous call, go against Georgia Tech that resulted in either 3 or 7 lost points on the Georgia Tech side, and 99 yards later on the fumble,
14
7 for
points
the Georgia. It was a tremendous swing. And still Georgia Tech overcame that and reassumed command of the game. They were a much better team in the field. I'll explain why when we get into the rest of this video, why I think Georgia Tech ends the Florida State winning streak this week.
There you go. Well, Dave Cokin, he's going to go ahead. He's going to make this official. The line on the game, Florida State -4, total of 60 from Charlotte. Dave Cokin, make it official, pal.
All right, here's the big deal as Georgia Tech lines up with Florida State. Georgia Tech is missing a key player in this game. A wide receiver, Smelter's his name. He's not going to be able to play. That hurts him on the receiving end. It also hurts their run blocking. He's a really talented wide receiver. But they've got good bodies to put in his place. And the thing about Paul Johnson is he's managed to implement all the different parts, and he's got this team humming right now. They're playing really good football. They're playing better football than Florida State. The thing that I really like here is the fact that Florida State has had discipline problems on the defense all year. I'm not talking about off-the-field stuff. I'm talking about on-field discipline. We know about Florida State's off-the-field discipline problems. That's an entirely different scenario. This is on-field discipline problems where guys are losing their assignments, and now they have to face an offense where it's absolutely critical that you maintain the defensive stances in terms of assignment. Option teams, that's the whole key to stopping the option. It's assignment football. I've talked with enough coaches over the years to have finally grasped this, particularly, out here in Mountain West country, because you've got teams that run the option. You got New Mexico runs the option. You got Air Force runs the option. You got a couple other teams that run semi-options. So you get to learn about this stuff. And that's what it's about. It's all about maintaining discipline and maintaining assignments. Well, if they haven't been able to do this and stop running games against teams that don't run any option, how are they going to do it against Georgia Tech? I don't think they are. So the whole key is, does Jameis Winston go out and have a good game? If he does, Florida State probably can outscore him and get the win. But if Jameis Winston, the one that shows up the last few weeks, shows up here, they're not going to win this football game. The streak's going to come to an end. 4 points, I don't know how much it matters to me, because if Florida State wins the game, there's a good chance they're going to cover the spread. So I actually think the better bet here might actually be Georgia Tech money line. But I'm taking the shot that Georgia Tech ends the Florida State winning streak. The controversy comes to an end as the unbeaten team that belongs in the playoffs because they're unbeaten and they were number one last year, but they haven't played anything close to that level this year, and it's created some controversy. Maybe it ends right here. Georgia Tech plus the points, Georgia Tech money line, either way. I think the Yellow Jackets are going to come through.
Dave, here's the other thing with Jameis Winston off the field throughout this last year and a half of this cloud being over the team. The attorneys have handled everything for him, speaking for him. This week, couple days, he had to go before his student body, and he had to speak for himself.
Yeah, I don't know how much that impacts him.
It wasn't just him, Darby and Cash too. So
yeah,
a couple guys.
You know, I mean, sorry for being cynical, but I think he's about as much of a student at this point as I am. Okay, gotcha. And I'm 62 in a few weeks, and I ain't going to college anytime soon.
No Rodney Dangerfield back to school for Cokin?
No, I can't dive anyway. He's a paid professional. He's just not getting paid much now, but he's going to be in the future. That's another subject entirely. But you really think that, Jameis Winston, student athlete. Okay.
Tell you what, that Georgia Tech defense against Georgia, that was as solid a game as I've seen.
They were really good. And Johnson's got them rolling right now, and I love the way they kept their poise in that game.
Thomas is good.
I even tweeted. I had Georgia Tech in that game, and I was not happy with that call. And then they get stopped, and the next series, it's like, this game's going to get away from them, and I'm going to end up losing this football game because of a bad call. They didn't lose it. They won the game outright. And
yes.
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't mention this. All the pressure's on Florida State. Georgia Tech just come in and have a good time here.
No doubt. Agree with you.
See what happens.
Yeah, no doubt. And of course, what I want to know too, for any of you folks out there, ESPN or anybody else that may take a gander at our videos here at pregame.com, make sure that you have cameras on both sides of the end zone, because when we watch that Georgia Tech,
really?
We know darn well. I mean, for the most part, anybody that watched it knows with the push that you saw from the back, that more than likely Thomas is in the end zone.
And if not, the forward progress was stopped.
Exactly, and that's ridiculous too. The forward progress is not being blown dead. They're waiting for 3 or 4 linemen to try and push these piles after 3 or 4 seconds where no one's going anymore.
I'm watching the game and I'm going, where the hell's the whistle?
Yep.
No, it was a
whistle in between the hedges. They're waiting for Swan to come out of there and run 99 yards.
Based on the way they officiated the play, I guess they got it right, because he did fumble the football. But, the forward progress rule is pretty clear, isn't it?
It should be at this day and age.
It's football officials. What do you want? They're trying to. These guys were so bad, the NFL is considering hiring them.
There you go. Remember the Titans. Just drop a flag. All right, Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin. Hope that you have a great championship week. And again, Friday it'll start out with a couple games. It'll be the MAC championship with Northern Illinois going up against Bowling Green, and of course Oregon and Arizona, and roll right through Saturday. Should be a lot of fun, and then a great NFL weekend as well. We'll be back next week. We'll have some more videos for you. Probably hit the college hardwood. We'll do these videos on Wednesday. Probably take a look at a couple Thursday games next week, or maybe some NFL games. Ken Thomson, Dave Cokin. Have a great weekend. Pregame.tv.